how medical practitioners think about their day and what they think is going to keep the patient happy is actually the complete opposite of what does keep them happy, and what somebody in the end will either say that was a great place or that was a bad experience. And it's nearly always, or it's nearly never, to do with the actual physical thing that you've done, and it's always the way that you've treated them and the way that you've communicated with them and recognized when their problem is. So in the hospital last week with the baby, the actual medical procedure was fab. The C-section was amazing. A couple of issues occasionally. We were like, oh shit, this is not ideal, but it was never like life-threatening, if you like. So we go through the whole procedure, and then at the end, within 5 minutes of Natalie being put into recovery, so you literally get wheeled out of major surgery, losing 1.5 litres of blood, completely knocked. She's almost knocked out. I mean, she's awake, right? But she's just absolutely fucked after like torture of, the surgery. She's in resuscitation, in recovery, and within 5 minutes, the surgeon comes up and says, "Is that your family done then?" Right? And I wasn't in the room at this point. I'd gone out to tell my mum and her mum and dad that it was a boy and so on. So I was outside, and I come back in and I caught the back end of this conversation. And the nurse, this is the consultant. So this is the highly paid, highly educated, highly technically skilled consultant who just performed a miracle to get a baby out alive and keep them both safe and happy, right? Which at this point they are. And says to Natalie, "So is that your family done?" And Natalie says, well, I don't know, what do you mean? Or just, we don't normally recommend that you have more than 3 C-sections, like in your lifetime as such. And I definitely noticed a few things down there that might tell you that you want to be careful, further down the line, and it might cause a problem if you ever want to have a fourth child further down the line. So she's racking up all of these consequences of a potential 4th surgery, right? I kid you not. It's not even 5 minutes since the birth, and the most joyous moment in Natalie's life has gone by. And I come back in at the end, I went, what are you talking about? Like, what's going on here? And she said, I was just telling your partner about the consequences of having another baby. And I'm like, can't we just enjoy this one? Like, there's got to be a better time and a place to have this conversation than a girl who's like hooked up to all sorts of shit with drugs running through her body, who's just lost 1.5 litres of blood. There's a brand new baby in her arms screaming that she wants to give some love and attention to, and you want to have a conversation about the consequences of a 4th surgery. Now, I get that we have to have that conversation, but you can't tell me that this is the right time to do it, right? So and this is where I'm going, right? So the surgeon leaves, and then Natalie looks at me going, "Is that it then? Can we not have any more kids?" I'm like, I don't know. What did she actually say? And I said, well, I don't know. As soon as I heard the consequences of the next surgery, I just went into she went into meltdown, basically, not listening to what the surgeon was saying. I thought, fucking hell, all the skills in the world, a 6-figure salary, technically, clinically, world-class, not a single complaint to do with how that surgery was handled, more people than you could ever have dreamt of, 2 anaesthetists, like every single aspect of the whole thing was 10 out of 10 until you got to that point. Natalie goes back to the ward, and her mum and dad come on, and within 2 or 3 minutes of like showing off the baby, what's Natalie's first comment? Oh, she said we might not be able to have any more kids. I was like, oh, hang on, stop. Like, we can have more kids, right? And ultimately we can do what we want. We'll figure out what the path is and what the route is. And in the cold light of day in 6 weeks' time, when you're actually sat up, you've got blood going to your brain, you've got blood back in your body, I'm there to actually hear what was said, because she didn't even wait till I was there, which was even fucking more stupid. Even if she had to do it then, she could have said, hang on, do you want your partner to be in the room? Because I know full well you're not going to hear anything that I'm about to tell you, but he will. Right, and then when I come back in the room, I was like, can you explain that to me? Oh, we'll book a review appointment in 6 weeks Talk about like chucking a grenade into like the middle of a situation. So Natalie's whole day, not spoiled, but it was certainly in her head about whether or not she'd be able to have any more, right? And then anybody who came to see her over the 48 hours after was, oh, like, are you having any more kids, blah, blah, blah. Well, she's, oh, well, I hope so. Like, she's so sort of down with it, if you like, in a time where it should have just been an amazing, well done, you're both healthy, you're both happy, you know, great 48 hours, well done, you know, you've done amazing, you've brought a child into the world, enjoy it, let's book a review in 6 months or 6 weeks, and we'll take it from there as to what, you know, what needs to happen next. If you want to have any more kids, I'll talk to you about the consequences, or I'll talk to you about the potential risks and how you might be able to get through it, or not, if that's the case. And at that point you go, all right, cool. So that was number one, right? Back of communication. And number two, so 2 o'clock the next day, this is now Thursday, she has the baby on the Wednesday. So we're still in the hospital, 2 o'clock, midwife comes in. All the checks are good. We've done the hearing test, we've done the, you know, the prick test, whatever else. You're good to go, right? You're fine. We're going to start getting you ready to be discharged. So Natalie's like, oh great, like ring the kids, tell them we're coming home, they won't need to stay at grandma's. This is at 2 o'clock. She starts walking out of the ward and I went, oh hang on. Literally she gets to the door, I said, can I just check? At what point will we be going home? Because she didn't give us a time there. She went, well, I don't know, I'll try my best to get you out as fast as possible. I said, no, like when are we going home? She says, oh, I can't tell you. So I said, all right, what are we looking at, an hour, 2 hours? She went, yeah, at least 2, right? So I went, hang on, you were about to walk out of this ward, having just told us that we could start getting ready to go home. And you think that it's not cool to tell us that it'll be at least another 2 hours, right? And you think that that's not going to irritate the crap out of us as we sit there twiddling our thumbs for the next 2 hours with bags packed and kids at home waiting for like us to arrive, or that we could just ring them and say, come up and see us because we're going to be potentially here all day, right? So it's now 4 o'clock, nothing happened. It's now 5 o'clock, we're still there. 5:30, I'm like, oh, what the fuck's like, what's going on? Classic response, right? Which is, again, if you understand what people do when they do this, they hope they're gonna shut you down. She's one of the nurses went, there's a lot of poorly babies on the ward and they're getting our priority, and I went, I appreciate that. And I said straight away, don't for one fucking second think that I don't appreciate that, and do not use that as an excuse to turn me into a twat for asking what time are we going home. Because 3 hours ago, you told us we were good to go. We've been sat in a ward on our own. Nobody's even walked down and went, do you want pain relief? Can I get you a glass of water? Can I get you some food or whatever? It's now 5:30. What time are we going home? And they're like, well, we've got poorly babies and we're short staffed. I'm like, all right. And that's as good as it's going to get. Like, why did you tell us at 2 o'clock we could fucking go home? Right? So it's now 7 o'clock. This gets better. The couple next to us, they're in the same situation. They're kicking off. So, and the third bed, they were in the same situation. You've now got 3 people in a room who are doing nothing but slagging off the NHS. If you'd have gone in that room at any point, you'd have felt it. So the nurses now didn't even want to come in. So this is getting worse. They don't want to come in because they know that these 3 people are all getting worse. So they stay away, and the fact that they stay away makes everybody worse. And now we're all chasing them up and down the corridor, trying to ask them, what time are we all going home? You told us all at 2 o'clock we were going home. In fact, one of them got told at 11 o'clock that they were going home. The point is not that we were sat there, right? We're all safe, we're all happy and healthy, figuratively. The point is that the medically qualified people with the most amount of logic in the world, highly skilled, can't see that the real issue was not a communications issue, an expectations issue. That I expected to be able to go home once you'd said, pack the bags. The fact that I'm still here at 7 o'clock is the thing that I'm pissed at. In fact, wrong. I'm not pissed that I'm here at 7 o'clock. I'm pissed that you told me I was going home at 11. See the difference? Fundamentally, it had nothing to do with the fact that I was there at 7 o'clock. It was that you told us we were going at 11. As such, the whole day is gone. The kids didn't come up that day. It was Tobias's birthday the next day, so we were like, do we pick him up tonight? We don't know what time we're going out. We obviously wanted him in the house for his birthday the next morning. So now Natalie's getting more and more irate. The woman next to her is getting irate. 2 fucking women then go at it, like, obviously misery loves company. So they were just fueling each other up. She is the conversation, and all of a sudden it's a whole kickoff. Literally every 10 minutes, somebody's just walking down the corridor going, come on, what's going on? The nurses were then having to come back to calm everybody down, if you like, and explain the situation. that probably wasted more time than if they'd have just done the fucking thing at 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock. Eventually we leave at 8:30. Now again, right, it sounds completely pedantic. And the way that that situation could have been handled was this simple. The good news is, I'm going to do my absolute best to get you home. Or the good news is, you won't have to stay another night. I'm going to get you out before 8 o'clock. That's it. Everybody in that room would have just sat and gone, thank God, I'm going home tonight. I don't have to spend another night and I'll be home before 8 o'clock. Rather than, you're good to go, we'll start getting you ready. Right? Really, the lady in that hospital that day, she's like, oh, the biggest complaint is communication. I said, well, I get it, but technically it's expectations. It's not communication. At the surface level, it's communication. At the deeper level, it's an expectations issue. Communication tells you what you didn't, the verbal mechanism, if you like. But if you're communicating with me in a way that changes my expectations. You change my expectations, most pain and suffering goes away. Most issues, every single thing that you're pissed off with right now is an expectations issue, that somebody did or didn't do something that you wish they hadn't. I didn't think you'd do this, whether it's a husband, wife, partner, kids, whatever. Whether it's your kids, you expect them to do a certain thing because you've took them away for the weekend, and the little bastards wake up on a Monday morning at 8 o'clock and don't give a shit. You get annoyed when they won't put their clothes on because you've took them away all weekend and you've sacrificed and you've spent all this money on them and you stood in the line at Alton Towers and whatever else, and then all of a sudden at 8 o'clock you expect them to miraculously just wake up and clean their bedroom just because you took them to Alton Towers. That's the thing. Are you pissed off with them because they didn't clean their bedroom, or because you expected them to? And they didn't. It's an expectation. Everything in life is expected. I expected this person to do it, and it's the same with patients. They expect you to speed this thing up because every other person that they're coming into contact with, I mean, I don't even know how to say it respectfully. People are just literally sleepwalking through this whole thing. Even as you go into them hospitals, they're just sleepwalking like through it. Their conversations are so monotonal, they're so habitual. There's no genuine care, there's no genuine empathy. There was at a time when they first signed up to do it. There genuinely was. But it's been knocked out of them so quickly because they don't have the time. They're probably almost punished for giving you the time and for giving you the empathy, and now they are so pissed off because they're fighting somebody like me or Natalie or whoever in that ward who's constantly chirping at them that they can't understand. This is the bit that the nurse couldn't get. She couldn't get why once she'd said we've got poorly babies on this ward, that the other people in the room didn't shut up. Why nobody stopped asking her what time we could go home. She couldn't get that point. And at which point it was actually pissing everybody else off that they'd used that to make us feel shit. So this whole thing was like, it was a crash course. It was just a disaster that they couldn't deal with. And again, it had nothing to do with vaccines, injections and whatever else. They see nurses running up and down, sitting at the top of the wards, having a coffee, chit-chatting. And again, I'm not being disrespectful, I'm just telling you that things that piss people off. You walk up and down them wards and you're hearing conversations about X Factor with nurses sat on the fucking chairs, having a cup of coffee, whatever else, right? They don't get the patients are hearing that, right? Subconsciously listening to that. And the minute that they want something doing and they say, we haven't got time to do it, they're going, hang on, it doesn't look to me like you're that busy. There's your clash. There's your fight. Again, an expectations issue. I've mentally seen you, what appears to not have time, it appears to have time and to chit chat and to do whatever else. That therefore, when I need something, surely I'm going to be able to get it.